Okay, so we are ready for our main event, a success story of dentists bonding together. So please welcome Dr. Ankur and Dr. Yumna. They're going to share what they do in their daily dentisting lives. They're welcome to start their video whenever they are ready. Dr. Ankur and Dr. Yumna here. So perfect, Dr. Yumna, great. I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. So you are the awesome associate. I see Dr. Ankur who is saying something about his phone. So I want everyone to just take a deep breath, because we're going to talk about something that went well for us. I know we're dentists. We love to talk about what goes wrong. Terrible emergence profile, terrible interproximal contact. When that happens to me, I just tell people to floss with rope. Rope's like floss. So we have Dr. Ankur Gupta, practice owner, Dr. Yumna. I want you guys to, what I want to start with is where you are today, then we're going to go backwards. So Dr. Ankur, we'll start with you. Tell us, you're a practice owner. Tell us a little about yourself. What did you do today at the office? And we'll go from there.
Sure. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, Paul. I graduated in 2004. So we opened our practice from scratch. And when I say we, I'm talking my wife and myself. We did residency together, and then we opened our practice from scratch in 2005. And it was a startup. And so it took a long time to grow to the point where we considered ourselves successful. And then we were just rolling as two husband and wife that just practiced together and were productive together. And then right around the pandemic, the time of the pandemic, March of 2020, we realized that a lot of the other stuff that we wanted to do that was kind of interesting, but required a lot of time, we weren't able to do because we were too busy with the normal dentistry stuff. And these things included things like, I like to educate, so I'm a teacher, just like you, Paul. Yeah. I couldn't devote as much time to my content because I was working. And my wife, she had a lot of other small projects. We wanted to incorporate sleep in our practice, and we were just doing such a crappy job because we were too busy. And that was the time when I
say this, you're too busy to be successful, right? We're all too busy. You always say, I could be successful, but I'm too busy, right? So I applaud you.
Right. No, that's exactly what it was. It was like, oh man, we could be really good at this, but we can't because we're too busy. As if being busy at work is somehow like a good thing when we couldn't do the things that we wanted to do. And so the big problem we had was, who's going to want to work in a suburb west of Cleveland? Like, we were like, oh my God, how are we going to find an associate? And that's my segue to you.
You're one of my favorite people for a lot of reasons, but you're also just very open and transparent as we tell this story, because it's so valuable. The story is going to help other people. So you are a successful practice owner working with your wife, but you're too busy, which is a problem that you probably didn't think would be a problem when you started your practice. But I say, I would love to be too busy. There's no such thing. You want to do something else. And this isn't to compliment Dentist Job Connect. It's really just to showcase a weakness in our industry. We don't really have good ways to hire other dentists, right? I mean, you were like, I need to find an associate. And before you get to us, like, what did you think you were going to do? Put it on your own Facebook page? Your aunt was going to work for you? Call up people in town. I say it in a total curious way. Like, what was your strategy to find an associate?
No, I had none. I honestly, if I hadn't discovered dental nachos, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, I would have no idea how to do it. I would have put like a classified ads in the State Dental Board newsletter, which I did, and it got me like no responses.
Well, I want to point this out. Putting the classified ad in the State Dental newsletter is like putting something on MySpace and having people who on TikTok see it. The people that you need to see it already have practices, old people like us. So if somebody was to see that classified ads, it wouldn't be somebody that's one of our problems. The younger dentists looking for jobs are looking on platforms like social media, and then older dentists are saying, people say, I'm going to put it in the journal. I go, do we even get the journal anymore? So basically you were not sure how to create awareness on this position for your associate. I had no idea. How did you find out about Dentist Job Connect actually from us? I'm actually curious. Because we had Dental Nachos just from our marketing on Facebook, or did someone tell you about it?
No. So I noticed that there were jobs that every so often when I would go on Facebook, look at your Dental Nachos feed, I would notice every so often there would be a Dental Nachos thing about a job that was available or something like that. And so I think I reached out to you directly, and I said, I don't know if we knew each other back then, but I reached out to somebody.
We had that person, because I'm going to get to the part of the story where you forgot to tell us we did a good job at the gym in Florida, but I'm waiting on that. But you did reach out to us. And you said,
Yeah.
you did reach out to us and said, I give you credit. You said, oh, I see these ads going on. So you reached out to Dentist Job Connect and made your own ad for this.
I did. I did. Yeah. And while I had that Ohio Dental Association ad for quite a long time, I put the ad out on Dental Nachos, on Dental Job Connect. And Yumna, I think you reached out to us probably within 2 weeks of that. And we had about 4 other people reach out within a month.
That's
and
awesome.
that was amazing. It was amazing because we really don't know what we would have done.
I'm going to pause you, Ankur, and go to Dr. Yumna. Now, Dr. Yumna, let's hear your part of the story. Love to know about where you are in your dental career, and then bring us up to where you saw this ad and you guys talking. So go from pre-meeting Ankur through Job Connect. Tell us where you graduated from, when you did it, what you did after school.
Okay. So I went to UConn and I graduated in 2020. And then I did a 1-year AEGD in Providence, Rhode Island. And I'm married, and my husband was applying for fellowship, and he matched at the Cleveland Clinic. And so I was like, I don't know anyone in Ohio, let alone Cleveland.
And I want to share, and maybe this video will go viral, whatever that means. I want Dentist Job Connect to be part of the solution in this. I hope our industry becomes more elevated in ways to connect dentists for jobs, in addition to Dentist Job Connect. But now we're on the other side of the spectrum, Dr. Yumna, of the younger dentist. So you're basically like, I got to go to Ohio. How did you think you were going to find a job?
I was really concerned. I knew a lot of people in the Northeast because that's where I did all my training. And I was just like, I don't know. Me and my husband were even talking about doing long distance. I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a job. And then my orthodontist, actually, like my personal orthodontist, she told me about Dental Nachos and how she sees ads on there sometimes. So then I joined Dental Nachos, and I looked at the page a lot about different spotlights and stuff. So I applied for it, and then I made my own spotlight. And then within about 2 weeks, maybe a month, I got it said that someone was looking for a place in North Ridgeville, Ohio. And then I went on Dr. Gupta and Dr. Nisha's website, and I stalked them. And yeah.
That's awesome. So at this point, I'm so proud that this happened. The timing was great. We created this awareness. I'm an equal opportunity kind of Neuer. My wife says regular Neuer. Our finale of this show is going to be the bicep king of Instagram, Dr. Jordan Brown. But what I want to share with my younger dentists, for some reason, Ankur, people go, Paul, you're always, babying younger dentists. You never give them any grief. I go, are you paying attention? I give them quite a bit of grief, because here's the grief I'm about to give to dentists less than 5 years out of school. If you're not paying attention to Facebook, you're missing opportunities, because Facebook is the place where a lot of interesting things happen that can help you with your career. It doesn't mean that Instagram can or TikTok can, but I will tell you, too many young dentists say, I'm not joining your Facebook group, Paul, because I don't go on Facebook. I go, do you like being unemployed? Is that good enough reason to go on Facebook, right? You don't have to wish your friend from high school a happy birthday, but I just want to point out, and the attention may shift to another platform, but Facebook is still a great place for community for dentists. And I compliment you, Dr. Yumna, for at least paying attention to it and seeing this. I do hear from the story, your orthodontist kind of clued you in. So that was nice that you had a resource like that. So now I'll go back to this. So we're setting up these dental dates. You guys have connected. Tell us about the process of interviewing a little bit on your end, Dr. Ankur, making sure, it's going to be the right fit for Dr. Yumna. One of the things I want my associates to think it's just as much the right fit for them as my side, right? So tell us, Ankur, about this is your first associate. So tell us a little bit about that process.
So that was actually really intimidating for us, is just being able to hire somebody who would be happy with their position. And so what we wanted to make sure, I think my wife and I, before we even had one interview, we were sitting around drinking coffee, and we said, okay, what are the things that are the most important? And we came up with 2 things, and that was teachability and humility. Yeah. And the 2 of us, my wife and I, we're both we've been out of school for almost 20 years, but we're still kind of slow. And, there's certain things, we're just not that good, and I think that as we matured, we realized we're good at some things, but we're also flawed and human and not that good at others. And what we wanted to make sure of was that whoever came along was, of course, a good dentist and a good person, but somebody who is open-minded to the fact that they're going to be working for a couple of humans who are flawed themselves, who sometimes you'll look at a bite wing and be like, dude, that's an open margin. And my boss just placed that crown like 6 months ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just worried that like, is somebody going to come along and just judge us? And Dr. Arif,
You know what, Ankur, I just think I want to share that feeling just shows how healthy and emotionally supportive dental school is, because we are so worried about our own people who know how hard it is to do arts and crafts judging us. If there's one thing I do with Dental Nachos over the next whatever decades, my hope amongst hope is that I shift some of that thinking, because we've all felt that way. And we all think that way. And I just think it's part of our dental school toxic training where we should just be more authentic, genuine, vulnerable. So I think that's important. I don't want you to go back to your story. So now you're going to meet Dr. Yumna. She's going to come to your practice. I think it's awesome that you're sharing. You're having your own fears and anxiety too about having another dentist in your practice, which is totally normal. Dr. Yumna, you come to the practice and meet Dr. Ankur and his wife. Tell me a little bit about the interview process from your end, or just the meeting process.
So we did a Zoom interview first, because I think I was just so far away that I wanted to do Zoom interviews first to just make sure that it was something, because I was going to be flying and it's hard to take time off of residency. So we did a Zoom interview first, and then they invited me for like a formal interview to meet in person. And then I met with them in person on like a day off that they had off of the clinic. And then they gave me a tour, and then we just talked logistics, and it was very casual, like just a conversation, essentially, I would say.
Awesome. And I'm going to ask you for your, fears, vulnerabilities, and concerns in a very friendly way. Dr. Ankur and his wife are saying, we've been dentists for 20 years, but we're doing our own way. We have another dentist coming in. Now you're coming from an AGD or GPR, which I love. I do believe, while I love all my dentisting humans out there, and if you don't do a GPR or AGD, we still can be friends, and I still will help you. But what you said, Ankur, and maybe you say this, when you do a GPR or AGD, you get very desensitized to feedback, because you have so many attendings telling you this could be better, this is this way, that I just believe that it really creates a mindset that feedback is not someone angry at you. Feedback is not someone telling you that you stink. Feedback is someone telling you to do better, and you can be better. So tell us about your concerns about going into the real world after your AGD or GPR.
I was just really nervous that I would work for someone that just wanted me to produce and wanted me to do things that I wasn't comfortable with. That was just my biggest fear. And I was worried that I would work, but I wouldn't learn. And I know that in dental school, everyone always talked about having a mentor and how important that was. And that was just my number one goal, was to have someone who would teach me, like for me, like even like money, like I just wanted to learn. Like I really wanted to learn like the big stuff.
That's a golden, what you said there, Yumna, I just want to pause you, is because I want to make sure it's honored. What you said there was such gold, in that you wanted to make sure you wanted to learn, not just work. And I totally understand sometimes that young dentists or any dentists want to make as much money as possible, but sometimes those environments are not learning environments. And sometimes it is beneficial, depending on the person, to really make sure you're embracing learning while working. And I just think that's such valuable advice to any dentist, but especially your group of dentists. So this is great. So you guys are now going to work together. Tell us a little bit about, Ankur, I don't know, you were at a game, right? I got my failed dreams, I want to play basketball, your son's game. Tell us a little bit about the game of working with an associate. What are some of the great parts? What have been some of the challenges? Anybody said, I can't see Dr. Yumna Ankur, you're the only person who can look at my number 30, and you have to deal. I've dealt with that with associates many times. So tell us about some of the rewards of it, but also the challenges.
Well, the rewards are amazing. I mean, the fact that we have somebody who fit those two guidelines so well, humility and coachability, was amazing. Because my wife and I, we started on her first day, on Dr. R's first day, with somebody who is humble, who wants to work hard, who fit in really seamlessly with our team. A lot of times team members are apprehensive. That I remember when we told them, hey, listen, we're hiring an associate. They were like, is this going to be our boss? Like they were like, really, they had their guard up. And then Dr. Arif, she came in with humility. She came in wanting to be friendly and supportive and humble with our team. And she fit in very well. I hope I'm right. I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Arif? Do you feel like people had their guards up, or were they welcoming towards you?
so I had like a meeting with everyone via Zoom before I started. And during
Oh, yeah.
that, I think everyone for sure had their guard down because they had just told everyone.
Mhm.
But like on my first day, maybe a little bit, but like by the end of the first week, not at all. I felt like
The dental
quite a
team, you
bit.
know what they do, and I have a team, they do a lot of complaining, but then when the time comes, they can't help but be nurturing. They can't help but be themselves, complaining is not even the right word because that's almost unfair. They get concerned, worried, but then when the person comes, the new associate, the newest specialist, they go to their warm, nurturing selves. And it really, works out. But especially it's a compliment to you, being humble is so important. Treating people as people throughout the office, from the dental assistant to the patients, and dental school doesn't always teach you how to operate like that. So it's not a judgment on that, but it's just such a key part of it. Now, tell us, it's Dentist Job Connect TV, so not necessarily anything that's not going well, but I'll share with you some ideas to catalyze this. I've had multiple associates like Dr. Yumna, and they say, I don't want to see the new associate. Why does she look so young? They said, I need a crown. Do I really need a crown? Why does she take so long? One time they said about my associate, why is she taking so long? You didn't take this long. I go, I think she's trying to do a better job than me. And that was truly true, right? Because dental school mindset sometimes, so tell us, either Ankur, what has been some situations, where the ball's been turned over, missed shot, maybe patient related, and how could you help coach an owner through that?
Dr. Arif, I want to hear you go, but I just want to tell one story. She was running the office. My wife and I weren't there. And there was a patient who had asked for narcotics. And, I've been doing this for long enough where I feel like I can say no with confidence. Yeah. And I also have a much more of a physical presence. I'm bigger than Dr. Arif is. I'm a male. I have a deeper voice, all that kind of stuff. And so I feel like if I was in that situation, it would have been something that I could have confidently handled. She attempted to handle it confidently, and the patient was a bully, and she bullied her. And I started getting texts. I was teaching in Pittsburgh. I started getting texts from my hygienist and, saying, hey, this patient's here. She's bullying Dr. Arif. And it was like a very emotional thing. Like, it was a really emotional thing. Like I just wished I was there. And I think that was probably the most challenging thing in this whole process was like, if you're the boss, if you're the hiring dentist, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
And that responsibility is to not only teach and mentor a younger dentist, but you have a responsibility to take care of that person as well. Yeah. And I didn't, and I wasn't there. And that was something that really bothered me. And actually, it was this afternoon, Dr. Arif, she was doing a crown on a patient, and he was surprised that it was a 2-appointment process. We don't have a CREC. So it was a 2-appointment process. And she was like, I could overhear, she was like, I'm putting the temporary on. And I could hear the patient get a little bit heated. Like, whoa, nobody told me about this. I thought this was going to be done. And I don't know, I don't even know if I overstepped my boundary, but I had my little rolly chair and I just rolled over into her op. And I was like, so is there anything I can help with? And I don't know if I was really needed, but I just wanted to, I don't know. I guess
I give you a comment that having your back in uncomfortable situations is just such a valuable thing. And patients will often not act right for the new associate, but will for the owner. I appreciate you sharing those stories, Ankur, and you can't always anticipate things like the narcotic things. One thing I do, and we have multiple offices, so all these changes, my team is trained, and this might just be helpful to you, is to say, we see this as a concern to you. What Dr. Paul has said is he encourages anyone to contact him on his personal cell phone with problems. And they give my personal cell phone, and it's kind of like, you got a problem, you can take it up with Dr. Paul. And this goes for dropping insurances and things like that. And that thing seemed like a very challenging scenario with the narcotics, but like that visit appointment thing, patients are just, sometimes they go, no one ever told me the implant was I go, I'm telling you now's the time, we're telling you, right? But sometimes they just respond so emotionally, and they will take advantage sometimes of the personality of newer or younger people. So I appreciate you this. Dr. Ari, tell us something from your end. It could be small, medium, or large. Maybe something that would help somebody who's a new associate.
I think you already said it. I think that one of the most challenging things is they've had the practice for a very long time, and the patients absolutely like love them, which is really nice to see as an associate dentist. But I do get that a lot, like, oh, like Dr. like Gupta like has been working on me for 15 years. And sometimes I'll go into hygiene and they just talk about him so much and it makes me feel smaller a little bit. But then I think I just try to win them over by the end of the appointment. And I think we have such a good team that they already know that that might be a problem with certain patients, and they just
Yeah.
like talk me up before I even get there. So I think it's a lot of like not just the person that is your employer, but having a really good team to go into as well. It just makes such a difference.
It's really an excellent point. Relationship management is key. Something I can share as someone who's been doing this for a while is when you have a dental associate because you want to teach, because you want to work less, because you want to go to your grandson's play, whatever. Part of it is altruistic to tell you that your associate, Dr. A, is awesome, but part of it's selfish because if it doesn't work, Ankur, we're stuck seeing the patient, right? So what I share is when somebody, let's say it's a hygiene exam, they say, why aren't you going to do my crown? Why aren't you going to do my night guard? I say, Janet, I want to share the joy of your mouth with another dentist. How dare you deprive me of sharing the joy of your mouth? And here's how it's going to work. And this is the key statement. I would be glad to have Dr. Arya do insert procedure on me, night guard filling, whatever. I'd be glad to have her do it in my mouth. And even better, Janet, you're such a valued patient that after the procedure, if you have any concerns or questions, please text me, please let me know. And what normally happens is they love the associate. Now they love two dentists. Now they might not want to see you anymore. But when you can just look at a patient and say, I would be happy to have Dr. A do this night guard on me. If you have any problems later, let me know, but I want to share the joy of your mouth with someone else. It'll work for you, Ankur. You're like me, you're a humorous guy. So when you can say,
I love that. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it.
I want to share the joy of your teeth with another dentist. I can't hog all of your fillings to me. And then when you just break people down with humor, and the key statement is to say, whatever a patient is not sure about doing, just, I would be glad, insert procedure, to have that patient do it on me. It's the end of conversation. But it also shares with the owners, don't put your associate in a situation where you have them do like a second molar root canal on someone who doesn't know the meaning of the word open, right? Because practice owners sometimes, in trying to fill the schedule for their associate in a very positive way, may layer it with procedures that are either A, out of the comfort zone, or B, out of the patient management. So it goes both ways there, that tip there. Awesome, guys. So I'm going to bring Drew up, man, but before we go, tell me why someone else should use Dentist Job Connect, if they use it, and what has been sort of the best outside the office part of this relationship, whether you like the same movies, whether you get the same lunches. I always believe dentists are people too. So I'll start with you, Dr. A. First of all, for your people, Dentist Job Connect is free, so there's no cost to them. But speak to your just graduated to GPR, new dentist, why should they sign up on the Dentist Job Connect platform? And second question, what's been the most fun outside the office part of this associate experience?
Does it have to relate to the associate?
One.
Oh, is it me or him? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'll let Dr. I was sort of saying, like, inspire
go for it. No, you go for it.
Inspire someone like you to go out of their comfort zone and text jobs so they can find a job like this. And I'm actually just more curious, because I would say dentists are people too. So you think of Dr. Ankur as the head dentist, the person you ask questions about. I'm just curious, any people related stuff, like you both love Schitt's Creek or you both love pizza at the same restaurant from this experience?
Oh, okay. Well, I think people should do the job connecting is because I think the job search gets really overwhelming. And I think the Dental Nachos platform makes it really easy. They send you emails directly when there's like a connection, and they do a lot of the legwork for you. So I think it's really simple, more simpler than Indeed or looking at like classified ads and things like that. And I don't, we both listen to similar podcasts. We like crime.
Oh, nice. Which one?
Right?
Tell me about the podcast.
Ashley Flowers, Crime Junkie, right?
So Ashley Flowers, Crime Junkie. And then we play Jeopardy at our office. Like at the morning huddle, we always play Jeopardy. And I would say Harry Potter Jeopardy is
nice.
That's the Jeopardy that I would say the only person who knows more than I do is her.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive actually. And like 4 years ago, I listened to the Serial podcast. Do you remember that at all, Paul?
Yeah.
There was a guy, he was arrested for murder, unusual
I remember that.
circumstances. And well, my kids are old enough now to listen to that podcast. And so I'm listening to it again with them. And it's really cool to come to work and talk about it with her. She's the only other person other than my wife who actually is listening to that podcast.
Yeah, and that's just my dentists are people too, part of what we do. That's my whole part of like working as part of a team. You know, I was just in a great business meeting yesterday where the pandemic and all these things have taught about how blending personal and professional lives is something we probably should have done more of over the years. It comes with, challenges too, but, just getting to know your team as people. And I always think that's like a great question for new associates to ask the team. Like, bad question. Who'd you vote for in the last election? Very polarizing. Good question. Where do you like to eat lunch in this area? Right. So, have you seen any good shows on Hulu? And I just think that's an important part of our regular personality that shines through. So really appreciate Ankur. If someone wanted to reach out to you and say, how they can get you to speak, use Dentist Job Connect, your practice, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Thank you, Paul. That's so nice of you. But no, a person doesn't have to reach out. How about this? I'm gonna chat my email address. Okay.
Perfect.
So
I'll read it. I'm not saying, not because you're a phenomenal speaker, but I know my people will say, I believe that Nacho guy, but I really want to ask Ankur a question. So put that in there and I'll read that off. How about you? What's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Email too. I'll put my email down there in the chat as well.
I'll read that. Well, I cannot thank you guys enough. This was so important to me, meaningful to me. I love sharing positivity. I love sharing success stories. I've never had two people who've come on bonded together. So what generation bonding age are we up to? 9th, 10th? Maybe Doctor. I don't know what we're at, but you guys are our best generation bonding agent of associates and owners. How long is your...
One more thing, Paul. Sure. One more thing. Yeah, the coolest thing about having a younger associate is they teach us stuff about like our outdated techniques, and that's really nice because he's like, "Wait, you still use that material?" We're like, "We've been using it since dental school." She's like, "No, nobody uses that anymore."
Yeah, that's great. So I love that. It's like updated fashion. Serena, just put the emails in the Facebook chat. You guys were just too great. Can't wait till you guys come to Philly. Your swag's on the way. Ankur, I don't know if you sent us your address yet, but I know Dr. Yumna did. So we'll send you some Nacho swag so you can wear. And I'll call you after the show's over, Ankur. But thanks so much, guys, for sharing with me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck.